range, while building height is kept low enough to be generally compatible with 1- and 2-family residential development, end quote. And as this board knows, the intent and purpose of redevelopment planning, and the fourth ward redevelopment plan in particular, is to address those indices of blight or areas in need of redevelopment, such as vacant parcels, abandoned buildings, and other negative impacts on the community. In my opinion, this application advances the goals and objectives of the master plan. Mr. Deutsch read the release that are being sought. There are 4, but I would just remind the board 2 of these are pre-existing conditions that are not exacerbated by the proposed application. Therefore, in my opinion, relief is not needed. The first is the minimum lot area. The second is minimum lot width. Both of those conditions are as is. Where we do need relief, however, would be the minimum side yard setback on one side, where 5 feet is required and 0.1 or 0.1 feet is proposed. The other is minimum open space and amenity space. 750 square feet is required and 718 square feet is proposed. You heard Mr. Evans' testimony about efforts to provide open and amenity space, both in terms of the backyard space as well as the numerous terraces on the floors. With that, I would just like to share a very quick exhibit. This exhibit is just images of the site and surrounding area to give a bit of context for the remainder of my testimony.
And this was the one that was previously submitted, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Secretary.
Yes, thank you.
This exhibit is a series of images captured by myself and my team during a site visit, and 1 or 2 graphics taken directly from the local land and development documents. Do we need to mark this as A?
No, it was submitted prior to.
Right, it's already submitted.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Slide.
You're breaking up a little bit, so I didn't hear what you just said. I believe I heard that we have that, and we don't have to mark it as an exhibit?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Williams usually presents his exhibits well in advance of the meeting, so that you have it well in advance.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. The first slide number 2, is just an aerial photograph of the subject area. Our site is highlighted in yellow. You can see it is a narrow rectangular lot, and that goes to the statement I made a few moments earlier about the lot area and lot width. Many of the lots in this section are similarly shaped. As Mr. Deutsch mentioned earlier, it is also a function of the lot width that the parking requirement is different than the normal parking requirements, in as much as no on-site parking is required. Slide number 3 is just a graphic from the redevelopment plan showing that our site, the one highlighted in fuchsia, is in the RA2 district. Slide number 4 and the subsequent slides are a bit more powerful. When you think about redevelopment planning and the removal of blighted conditions, this is the current condition of the site. You can see it's vacant. It's got a car parked on the site, and it's got a bit of trash and overgrown vegetation. If you were to approve this application, that condition would be eliminated, and the overall neighborhood character would be improved vis-a-vis the introduction of quality housing product. Also, what makes this neighborhood and street interesting is, and it's not uncommon in Paterson, but it's a bit acute or poignant on this section of Lake Street, is immediately across the street from our site is this kind of nondescript industrial or commercial use, also in the RA2 district. Our hope is that if you were to approve this application will be one step in advancing the purpose of the redevelopment plan and hopefully changing the character of the neighborhood in a positive way by, again, the introduction of quality residential development. I apologize, I'm losing my voice. Slide number 6 is a photo of 12 Lake Street. It's a building that's in fair to disrepair condition, and it's typical of some of the residential development on this side of Lake. You'll also notice the setbacks in these images. The next is slide number 7. This is 18 Lake Street in fair condition with a fenced parking lot, which is unusual in this section of Lake Street. Commissioners, that's the end of the exhibit. I promise to be brief. The remainder of my testimony is really about the variances that are being sought. As was discussed, there are 2 bulk and area deviations, the minimum side yard setback on one side and the minimum open space amenity space, which is a relatively small deviation from what's being required under the code. In my professional opinion, the C1 and C2 might be appropriate in this application, particularly for the side yard where we are dealing with a rather narrow lot, again, considerably less the width than is required in this section of the redevelopment area. 50 foot's required, we only have 25 feet, making it impractical to meet the strict application of your code. But I would also argue that the C2 context is appropriate for both the side yard setback and the amenity or open space. And as this board knows, the C2 or flexible C variance allows the board to consider the trade-offs. And if you believe the way I hope you will, that the benefits outweigh the detriments if you approve our relief, then you can grant the relief as requested. I would argue as a professional planner that the relief being sought are a better zoning alternative than a strict application of your code, in as much as they allow for an appropriate development of the site in keeping with the redevelopment plan and improving the overall character of the neighborhood. So in terms of the C2, in my professional opinion, the purposes of zoning that would be advanced begin with subsection A, and I'll read it: to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a manner which will promote the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Commissioners, that's the first purpose of zoning. It's a bit of a catch-all, as you've heard me say before, but it is particularly appropriate in redevelopment areas where the intent of what we're doing is to improve the health, safety, morals, and general welfare by removing blighted conditions. If you were to approve this application, in my opinion, you would achieve that goal and objective. Also, subsection I, to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. You heard testimony from Mr. Evans about the designs team focused on material differentiation, fenestration. He mentioned the large windows, the colors that are being proposed, and of course the landscaping, all of which go to both the aesthetic environment as well as the good civic design. Finally, I would submit to the board that under the Anfuso v. Sealy court case, it's been held that when you advance a state policy, that too can be seen as a positive criteria. Smart growth policy for New Jersey, in my opinion, would be advanced if you were to grant this application with those deviations, because you will fill in a blind spot on Lake Street, making it more walkable and attractive. Smart growth principles also include compact, dense development. That is exactly what's being proposed here, particularly given the deviations from both the side yard setback and the outdoor amenity spaces. As you heard Mr. Evans testify, while we don't meet the strict application of the open space and amenity space, the provision of the terraces and the backyard space really meets the intent and purpose of the redevelopment plan, which is to make sure that tenants in this building do have access to open space. Finally, commissioners, as you know, the C2 requires that there's no substantial detriment to the public good. I would argue that if you grant our release for these two deviations, there will be absolutely no detriment to the public good. In fact, there will only be positives in the context of removing the blighted condition, providing quality infill housing, and really meeting the intent and spirit of your redevelopment plan's codes. Certainly, there'll be no substantial impairment to the zone plan. In point of fact, this application would advance a number of the goals and objectives of the Paterson master plan. So for all those reasons, in my opinion, as a planner, the board could comfortably grant the two releases that are being sought as part of this site plan approval this evening.
Mr. Williams, in your professional opinion, does this application fit into the spirit and quality of what the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan is attempting to achieve?
It does. The Fourth Ward redevelopment plan goals and objectives, Mr. Rubin, include the removal of blight, replacement of abandoned buildings, and the introduction of quality housing, and we are ticking all those boxes, if you will.
Thank you. That is the testimony of this witness, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I apologize for the loss of voice. A lot of trick-or-treating today.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. We still can see your plan on the screen. All right, at this time, we're gonna open to the public. If anyone has any question, they can call in at 973-321-1579. Meeting ID is 3158. I'm gonna repeat it one more time. That will be 973-321-1579. Meeting ID is 3158. If they want to be listed in the meeting, press 1. If they would like to speak, they have to press number 3. Well, I'm sorry?
Can't hear
We can't hear you, Madam Secretary. Star 1 and star 3.
you. Star 1, star 3.
Yes, okay. Please, if anyone has any questions. Now, if any commissioner has any question while we're waiting for any callers.
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Figueroa. I would like to ask Mr. Evans, if you will. I think this plan is really innovative. I like the covered refuse areas. My question is more on the fencing. Is it going to be in the rear area, or is it going to be, what parameters is the fencing?
The fence encompasses, let's say, the left side of the property, starting from the front, would go 100 feet to the back, 25 feet across the rear, and then up to the end of the building. So it would basically enclose that, make it more private and maintainable for the property itself.
I like that. And what's the height of the fence?
I believe it's 6 feet. Let me just double check. Would be 6 feet high.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioner has any questions? All right, Madam Secretary, do we have any callers? Madam, we cannot hear you. No, we do not. All right, so I guess we can close the public portion, or Mr. Rubin first can summarize his application.
Yes, we believe that this is an excellent application that fits.
I'm sorry,
The-
Mr. Rubin, I'm sorry, Madam Secretary?
Yep, Madam Chair, we need to have a vote to close the public portion. I see Madam Secretary there, but I can't hear her, so I know that's what she was going to ask.
Okay, perfect.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
Need a motion to close the public.
Moved.
Second.
Was my second Roman? Was my second Roman?
Oh, yes. I heard another voice, so I'm not sure who was first. Doesn't matter.
It was, Commissioner Roman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. All right, Mr. Rubin, would you like to summarize your
Yes, this is an application that fits squarely within the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan. We have shown photographs, we have given you professional planning testimony that shows that this is an application that belongs within the plan, within the spirit, and this is what the municipal council of the city of Paterson has wanted in this particular area. We believe that this will be a credit to the neighborhood and will advance all of the things that Mr. Williams has talked about as to desirability of making this a better neighborhood so that the blight and the older homes and everything else which you see in the photograph will be gone. We think this is one of the best applications that this board has seen. So most respectfully, we ask that you move forward to approve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. Any commissioner would like to make a motion on this application?
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Figueroa. I'd like to introduce a motion.
Okay, Commissioner Figueroa.
I'd like to introduce a motion to approve on the application of Paterson Falls Realty Group LLC, 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey, 07505 at property address 10 Lake Street, block 3610, lot 7. I would like to move that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting the following: site plan approval, bulk variances, city engineer, HEP Soil Conservation District. I'm not forgetting, Mr. Aquaviva, I'm not forgetting any special conditions?
no, I didn't hear any, I did not hear any conditions.
Okay, just wanted to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Commissioner. Commissioner McCon?
Yes.
Commissioner Figueroa?
Yes.
Commissioner Roman?
Yes.
Commissioner Amar?
Yes.
Councilman Khalid?
Yes.
And Madam Chair Santana?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. We still have a second application?
Madam Chair, we need a motion.
Chair.
The motion to close.
Commissions.
Yes. We would like, yeah. Any commissioner would like to make a motion to close this portion of the meeting?
I'll introduce a motion to close this portion, Commissioner Figueroa.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
But that's second, all right. And this, for the second application, we have to start, all over from the beginning, the statement that had to be, that was made at the beginning of the meeting too?
No, we don't, Madam Secretary, we don't have to read all that again. We don't do the pledge of allegiance either, Madam Chair.
No.
Okay,
Madam Chair, if I may, I'm Michael Rubin, and I'm the attorney for Silk City Development 2 LLC. This is an application for property at 224-226 Rosa Parks Boulevard, Lot 20 and Block 3515 in the city of Paterson, and our witnesses are ready to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. Madam Secretary, I'm missing the summary of that application. Will you mind reading it to the record, please?
LLC, 224-226 Park Boulevard, 135. The applicant proposes to remove the construct a mixed-use building.
Madam Secretary, I don't want to interrupt you, but I cannot hear you at all.
Madam Secretary, why don't I do it? I mean, you're obviously having problems with your, microphone there. So, would you like me to do it?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. The applicant proposes to remove the existing structures on the parcel and construct a mixed-use building, including 2 commercial spaces and 9 residential units. The first floor includes 2 commercial units with a half bathroom and a utility room, a 2-bedroom residential unit, a utility room, a package room, a bicycle storage area, a staircase, and an amenity room. Also included is a rear yard open area and a refuse and recycle area. The second and third floors are identical in layout and include a 2-bedroom unit, 3 one-bedroom units, and a tenant amenity room. The parcel has an area of 4,860 square feet. This proposal is within the C1 Neighborhood Commercial District of the 4th Ward redevelopment plan. Variance is required for the first floor residential space, as ground floor residential spaces are not permitted. This application requires a site plan approval review and bulk variance review. Madam Chair?
Thank you. So, Mr. Lewis, would you like to read your summary of this
Ms.
application?
Garfield will read this to the record.
Okay, good. I see you.
Property taxes and surcharges are current. Persons having a 10% or greater ownership interest in Silk City Development 2 LLC is Matthew Florio, providing an address of 175 Broadway in Paterson, New Jersey. As indicated on the property survey prepared by James Speaker of P2 Land Surveying and dated October 3rd, 2021, the parcel is located 50 feet north from the northwest intersection of Rosa Parks Boulevard and Godwin Avenue and contains a 2-story frame building on the west side of the parcel and a 1-story commercial building, which is connected to 2-story mixed-use building on the north side of the parcel. The commercial and the mixed-use buildings contain awnings and signs that are encroaching to the right-of-way. A chain link fence is located on the right, rear, and part of the left property line. Also, an existing egress door, where the steps is located on the northern side of the mixed-use building. The parcel has frontage of 48.60 feet on Rosa Parks Boulevard. The rear lot line of 48.60 feet and northern and southern lot lines that each measures 100 feet. The subject property has an area of 4,860 square feet or 0.11 acres. This architect has prepared a 5-page architecture submittal revised on September 20, 2022. Drawing F1 is a site plan in detail and indicates the 200-foot radius map, the recharge pit section, the planting detail, the lighting detail, the permeable paver, the fence detail, the existing site plan, the proposed site plan, and the zoning table and notes. The proposed site plan indicates that all of the existing structures on the subject property are to be removed. The proposed 3-story building is to cover 71.6% of the lot and is to be placed 0 feet from the Rosa Parks Boulevard front property line, 0 feet and 5.1 feet from the northern and southern property lines respectively, and 20 feet from the rear property line. The site plan also indicates an open landscape area and the refuse and recycle area at the rear yard. A 6-foot-high fence begins from the right rear corner of the building and is extended along the right, rear, and left property lines. A new concrete apron, sidewalk, and curb are all proposed in front of the subject property. A note on the plan indicates that the entire site and site perimeter is to be equipped with video security throughout public areas and site lighting along the traveled public way and parking area. Surveillance cameras are to connect to the City of Paterson Police Department system. The placement of the site lighting is indicated on the proposed site plan. Drawing S3 cycle site details and indicates the water connection, the concrete vertical curb, and road pavement widening. The sanitary sewer connections, the concrete sidewalk detail, and the refuse enclosure detail. Drawing SE cycle soil erosion site plan and details and indicates the soil erosion and sediment control nodes, the sediment filter fence, and the stabilized construction access. Drawing SK1 titled as proposed floor plan indicates the first floor, the second through fourth floors, and the apartment schedule. The first through third floors are measured approximately 43.5 feet in width and 79.1 feet in length. The proposed first floor plan indicates 2 commercial units measuring 559 square feet and 1,112 square feet in area, mailboxes, a package and mail area, a bicycle storage room, a staircase, a sprinkler and utility room, 512 square feet of tenant amenity space, and a 2-bedroom residential unit. Each commercial unit includes a half bathroom and a mechanical and utility room. The first floor plan also indicates a landscape open area and an enclosed refuse and recycle area at the rear yard. The 2-bedroom residential unit has an area of 939 square feet and it contains a kitchen, a living and a dining area, a mechanical and laundry closet, and an accessible full bathroom. The access to the first floor residential unit and the upper floor's residential unit is provided through 2 egress doors on the left side of the building. The proposed second and third floor plans are identical in layout and they indicate a 2-bedroom unit and 3 1-bedroom units. The building proposes a total of 9 residential units. A tenant amenity room measuring 128 square feet in area is also indicated on each of the second and third floor plans. The 1-bedroom units have areas of 602 square feet, 680 square feet, 657 square feet, and they contain a kitchen, a living and a dining area, a laundry and mechanical room, and a full bathroom. The 2-bedroom unit has area 1,005 square feet, and it contains a kitchen, a living and a dining area, a laundry and mechanical room, and a full bathroom. All the residential units meet or exceed the minimum floor area requirement. Drawing SK2 is the proposed elevation. The front elevation view from Rosa Park Boulevard indicates a 31-foot-high, 3-story building. The front elevation indicates a 3-full storefront window for each commercial unit and 4 double windows with architectural shade awning for each second and third floor. The front elevation proposes a brick veneer and a stucco finish as well as a decorative cornice for the front facade. 2 wall-mounted signs are also indicated on the front elevation plan. The rear, right, and left elevation plan propose a stucco finish for these facades. The rear elevation plan indicates 3 double windows for the first through third floors. The left elevation plan indicates 2 egress doors and 2 double windows for the first floor and 2 double windows and 1 single window for each second and third floor. The right side elevation plan indicates no window at that side. The subject property is located in the C1 commercial neighborhood district of the 4th floor redevelopment plan. The proposed mixed-use building is a permitted use subject to locating the residential units above the ground floor of the building. Since the applicant is proposing 1 residential unit on the first floor as variance is required. The surrounding existing dwellings consist of older multifamily dwellings and mixed-use buildings of 2 and 2.5 stories high, as well as some new buildings that were recently approved by the planning board. The property at 223-225 Rosa Parks Boulevard, which was approved by the planning board for a mixed-use building on February 8, 2021, is located to the east of the subject property across from Rosa Parks Boulevard. The Green Acre Community Garden is located to the north, and a vacant lot is to the south of the subject property. Lots with a width of 50 feet or greater prior to subdivision and/or development shall provide off-street parking. No off-street parking is required on existing lots that are less than 50 feet in width. As the building has frontage of 48.6 feet on Rosa Parks Boulevard, the applicant is not required to provide off-street parking as per the redevelopment plan. The applicant has not specified the use of 2 commercial spaces on the first floor. The applicant shall consider a permitted commercial use within the C1 neighborhood commercial district of the 440 development plan and obtain a zoning permit from the Division of Planning and Zoning prior to occupancy. Proposed retail and commercial uses which are not permitted by right or require conditional use approval for the land development ordinance may require an appropriate board approval. The proposed retail sign shall meet the requirements listed in the 440 development plan. As this is a redevelopment area, the planning board must determine whether the granting of the requested variances to allow the number of dwelling units proposed by the applicant is appropriate for the lot and the immediate surrounding area. Rosa Parks Boulevard is a 2-way street. On-street parking is provided on Rosa Parks Boulevard. It shall be the responsibility of the applicant and/or the preparer of the plan to obtain a letter from the city engineer indicating that the plans have been satisfactorily reviewed prior to the plans being released to the construction official. This proposal is in the Wrigley Park section of the city within the 440 development plan. The area is a mixture of commercial and residential uses. Several properties along Rosa Parks Boulevard close to the subject property which are granted approval for mixed-use commercial and residential buildings by the planning board are already built or under construction. On October 21st, 2019, the planning board approved a 3-story mixed-use building at 196 Rosa Parks Boulevard for a commercial space and 7 residential units. On September 14, 2020, the property on 204-210 Rosa Parks Boulevard was approved for a new 19-unit mixed-use residential and commercial building by the planning board. Also at the planning board meeting held on October 6, 2021, a mixed-use residential commercial building was approved for 754 square feet of commercial space and 7 residential units on 241 Rosa Parks Boulevard. In conclusion, the applicant estimates the cost of this proposal at approximately $1 million. The applicant should incorporate the design elements contained within the 440 development plan on the site and within the building. That was my staff report for this project. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Bartlett. Mr. Rubin.
Yes, Madam Chair, I will have our first witness, Mr. Evans, if it could be sworn in by the reporter.
You swear affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Witness
And I assume Mr. Evans' qualifications are allowed by the board.
Swears to Mr. Evans as an expert.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. Evans, tell us what we have in this application.
Okay, so, basically, the plans, as submitted were, consistent, with Ms. Barbu's, report. And, we are proposing, a new 3-story mixed-use building at this site. I can zoom in a little bit on the property. And it's consistent with others that have been built, and developed and approved in the neighborhood along Rosa Parks Boulevard, in the zone. We have, rear yard, open space, and, commercial on the first floor front with, one residential unit in the rear of the property, of the building. So, sheet S2 is, site details, then we have soil erosion, on the, sheet SE. And then we have the first floor plan showing, the commercial unit, to the left, commercial unit number 2 to the right. We have, sprinkler mechanical, handicap accessible, commercial units, and also to the rear, we have, an entrance to the apartments above with bicycle storage, amenity space, which, is, in front of the, rear unit, which is a 2-bedroom unit. It's 939 square feet, shaded in a light gray, and then we have showing that finished area for the rear yard open space, also recycling and refuse for the building. Going to the upper floor plan, second and third are similar, and the 2 front units are 1-bedroom units, meeting the minimum 600 square feet required for a 1-bedroom unit. Those would have laundry facilities, central air, and all utilities, new kitchen and bath throughout. And then we have the middle unit, which is a 1-bedroom unit, and then we have the rear unit, which is a 2-bedroom unit. We also, as mentioned, there's a tenant amenity space on each floor of 128 square feet. Going to the next sheet, which is the elevations, we show the Rosa Parks elevation, showing a mix of canopies and materials of brick and different stucco and a cornice. We're showing also decorative street trees in conformance with the redevelopment plan. We've made all those aesthetic additions to the building and showing the side, right side and rear. And we have the large windows for those units. So we also have, let me share one more thing. We have a rendering. So that would be basically looking at the building from Rosa Parks, showing the different materials and how it engages the street. Yes, that, I guess, similar to the last application, we'll submit that, a hard copy and a digital copy to your office with a marked as A1.
Mr. Evans, the facade of the commercial will all be changed also to be a more modern, clean look.
Yeah, so this is an entirely new construction. The buildings that were there would be, there'll be all new construction here. So this would be new storefronts for each of those tenants, commercial tenants, and then residential apartments above.
And in your professional opinion, does this fit into the spirit and requirements of the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Other questions I would have at this time?
Okay, Mr. Rowe, would you like to call the second?
Yes, Mr. Williams is need to be sworn.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I most certainly did.
Witness is thou sworn.
And I assume Mr. Williams' testimony is allowed as he is a professional planner and has testified before.
Yes, this where I said Mr. Williams has a professional plan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Right, Mr. Williams, tell us what is involved here from a planning viewpoint.
Certainly. Good evening again, Commissioners. My testimony for this one should be a bit briefer. As you heard both from your board planner and from Mr. Evans, this is a site plan application with one minor deviation from your code that's being required, and that is for the residential unit at the rear of the building at the ground level. Very quickly, yes, this is property commonly known as 224-226 Rosa Parks Boulevard and identified in your municipal tax records as block 3515, lot number 20. It is in the C1 neighborhood commercial district of the redevelopment, the fourth ward redevelopment area, as your board planner mentioned. And just to repeat, the intent of this district is, quote, designed to provide for retail and personal service businesses which supply the everyday needs of neighborhood residents. And the intent is to further allow for convenience retail and service businesses. The applicant would agree with the board planner's recommendation that whatever commercial tenant is proposed, it will comport with the redevelopment plans establishment of what is permitted. This application, in my opinion, is relatively straightforward. It meets the intent and purpose of the redevelopment plan, particularly in this district. The only relief we're seeking, as I mentioned earlier, is for the ground floor residential unit, which will provide a benefit as an ADA accessible unit. Very quickly, I'd like to share an exhibit, and I will be quick this time. This exhibit was shared in advance and is similar to the exhibit that was used last time. It's a number of images captured during our site visit and a few images taken directly from your land use documents. Commissioners, the first image is slide 2. This time, our property is highlighted in the pink or fuchsia color, depicting it mid-block along Rosa Parks Boulevard. And you can see that this lot is a little bit wider than the previous application. Excuse me. The next slide, number 3, again, just a simple graphic to confirm that our property here highlighted with the pink or fuchsia color is indeed located in the C1 zoning district of the fourth ward redevelopment area. Commissioners, again, a slightly more powerful image. This is slide number 4, and it shows the currently vacant and fenced block that is proposed for development. A couple of examples of current land development patterns in the area, and this speaks to the appropriateness of what's being proposed today. This image in slide number 5 captures 229 Rosa Parks Boulevard, also a mixed-use development. Another example, Commissioners, on slide number 6 is 195 Rosa Parks Boulevard, also a mixed-use development in the C1 zoning district. And I think what's worth, I believe, repeating is that this board has seen fit on a number of occasions to approve the very same relief that's being sought today to provide a ADA compliant residential unit on the ground level, but at the rear of the site. That placement of the ground level residential unit is important because, in my opinion, as a professional planner, the intent of requiring residential units to be above the ground level in mixed-use developments is to maintain the pedestrian experience at the front of the building so that you don't have non-commercial uses as you traverse Rosa Parks Street as a customer. In this case, that's not what's proposed. That's not what this client has proposed in the past. Instead, the proposal is to have that one ADA unit at the rear of the site. So I would just submit to the board that as this client has done in the past. The most appropriate context for your deliberation of our request would be the C2 context. There's no hardship here. Rather, it's our opinion that what's proposed is a better zoning alternative than a strict application of your code, and the C2 relief allows that consideration. I'll begin as I did with the last one. The first purpose of zoning to be advanced would be subsection A, to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a way or a manner which will promote the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. In this case, the promotion of an ADA unit is something that benefits the public health, safety, and welfare. I'll talk about the negative criteria in a second, but the other purpose would be subsection I, and you heard me mention this in the last application. It is to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. In my professional opinion, the testimony you've heard and the exhibit from Matt Evans demonstrates that the overall application, if approved, would promote a good visual environment, and that's demonstrated by the materials and the design layout that Matt Evans spoke to. The good civic design will also be promoted by creating an overall development that meets the intent and purpose of the redevelopment plan, but also has the benefit of providing much needed ADA residential units without detracting from the street context of the commercial, of the front of the building. And that goes to the negative criteria. In my opinion, there would be no substantial detriment to the public good because there will be no residential units that are street facing and therefore not detracting from the commercial experience on Rosa Parks Boulevard. The trade-offs, in my opinion, for allowing this deviation are warranted. Again, the benefits outweigh any detriments because there are, in my opinion, no detriments given what I've shared with you a moment ago. Also, we looked at the master plan. It's my opinion that if you were to grant this very limited relief, as the board has seen fit to do in the past, there would be no impairment to the master plan at all, certainly no substantial impairment to the master plan. So for all those reasons, for what is a relatively straightforward application, I would submit to the board that the proofs are substantial for this particular relief.
Mr. Williams, in your professional opinion, does this application fit into the spirit and content of what the municipal council of the city of Paterson wishes to achieve in the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan?
Yes, Mr. Rubin, it does, in my opinion. The overall goal and objective of the redevelopment plan is to remove conditions of blight, introduce, in this case, new mixed-use development, which is intended to spur not only residential dwelling, but to fill in the gaps for neighborhood retail services. This would accomplish that without any detriment to the neighborhood.
Thank you. That is the testimony of this witness, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
At this time, we're going to open to the public. Any callers can call to 973-321-1579. Meeting ID is 3158. One more time, the number is 973-321-1579. Meeting ID is 3158. They can press star 1 to be listed in the meeting, and then if they would like to speak, they can press star 3. While we're waiting for any callers, any commissioner have any questions for Mr. Williams or Mr. Eber? Any commissioners? Madam Secretary, do we have any callers? I'm sorry, we cannot hear you.
No, we do not. Can you hear me?
Yes,
No.
okay, we don't have any callers?
No, we do not.
All right, and we don't have any question from the commissioner, so I guess, we can close the public portion. Any, commissioner would like to make a motion to close the public portion? Okay, I make a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Mr. Roman, would you like to summarize,
Yes,
your application?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is an application that fits squarely within the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan. This is a little different in that we have two commercial, units on the first floor, and, which will add to, the commercial development of, Rosa Parks Boulevard. Most respectfully, think that this is, application is a credit to the neighborhood and will go a long way, to revitalizing the Fourth Ward and within the spirit and content of the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan. And we urge you to vote affirmatively for the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. Any commissioner would like to make, a motion on this application?
Madam Chair, I did not hear any conditions as well, just for the record.
Okay. Commissioner Figueroa, I'd like, Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Figueroa. I'd like to introduce the motion.
Proceed, Commissioner.
Okay. On the application of Silk City Development 2 LLC, 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey, 07505, at property address 224-226 Rosa Parks Boulevard, Block 3515, Lot 20. I move that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting the following: site plan approval, bulk variances, city engineer, and HEP Soil Conservation District.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Hassan,
Yes.
Commissioner Figueroa,
Yes.
Commissioner Roman,
Yes.
Commissioner Omar,
Yes.
Councilman Khalid,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Santana.
Yes.
Congratulations, the motion passes.
Thank you very much, members of the board. Thank you for all your considerations in these matters.
Thank you, commissioners,
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, do we have any other business?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
Okay. Our next meeting is this week, right?
On
the second.
Wednesday. On the second, yes.
All right, so I guess I will see you. Let's make a motion to close the meeting.
Thank you.
I make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Aye.
Good night,
Have a good
everyone.
evening, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ryan, you there? You hear me? Ryan,
Yes,
do you hear?
Yes,
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
yeah, I got it, perfect. We're still live, Stefan. I got the agenda, we're taking care of it.
All right, perfect.